Um,
I'm
they're supposed to
assuming
be
that this is a point when you would have like students, and it would tell you about what they're doing and everything.
Chapter 7, Escalation, the students page.
I'm assuming that that's what this is supposed to be. But as we all know, let me just
But Kai, can we also say that
hmm.
there was something in it, in that vision that surrounded the crystal ball?
Yeah, there was a whirlpool that was looked centered around a crystal ball.
Is that the crystal ball you have, you think?
It's either a crystal ball I have, or it's just supposed to be symbolic. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say.
All right, let's get it.
Because remember, we also found this crystal ball in just a regular school.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, things in that school were crazy.
Oh,
Oh,
here we go.
Jesus Christ. As you fly over the Magisterian capital of Phaedra, you feel a sense of, oh yeah, you did learn where the capital was way long
And
ago, didn't you?
we also just got a boat that could get me through
The sea.
the sea.
You feel a sense of wonder at their enormous city. It stretches out as far as you can see in all directions. How many Aedras would fit in it? 15? 20? Oh my. The
So
sinuous... Uh-huh.
we've been living in like I'll say like it's like a small capital, maybe like a Rome,
Yeah.
like that. And this is like New York or like London.
This is Manhattan. The sinuous architecture speaks of an advanced civilization that could easily use magic to shape the world around it. Oh, does it have like the Warframe aesthetic of technology and sinew? They, Kai, they might be a little more advanced than
Really?
you.
You don't say.
Your excellent view is not from any normal vantage point, but through one of the mirrors in the Magisterian vessel that picked you up.
Oh,
The airship.
we called for
Oh.
a taxi.
The airship contains 5 Magisterian soldiers, each wearing black armor and a gray cape. Around the interior of the vessel are mirrors showing different views of the outside world. Oh, it's like a submarine, basically.
Okay. Oh, so they don't actually have windows.
Oh, it seems to be just like it. It said it was like a half circle with those flying on the bottom, so it's like a UFO, basically, right?
Seems like it. Or at least just like a galley with no
Yeah.
top.
Although you gather these need not be from the point of view of the ship itself. Okay. The soldiers keep a wary eye on you, but not try to engage you in conversation. You ask a few questions, but get no responses. Thanks to your study of ancient tongue that your language has had as a common ancestor, you can more or less figure out what they're saying to each other. But it's mostly uninteresting orders of the kind you might hear on any ship, or at least any ship that was flying and had magic mirrors. You try asking questions in the ancient tongues to see whether they understand you, but the soldiers just laughed. Finally, the ship sets down on the roof of the Magisterian Palace. Most of the crew stays with the ship, but 2 halberd-bearing soldiers prod you out the door and toward an archway that leads into the palace proper. As long as your hands aren't bound, it doesn't count as being captured, you think cheerily.
I'm not captured yet.
So that's some optimism. Okay, the soldiers finally escort you to the grand amphitheater-like chamber with tiered seats in a semicircle occupied by a variety of silver-haired men and women. This is literally the meeting room from 300. Do you remember that scene?
I haven't seen 300.
You've never seen 300?
No.
You should watch 300. Um, Many of them look oddly young despite their gray hair, but some are quite old and wizened. They each wear a red sash that must signify some kind of official position. The room is kept somewhat dark. Feeble magical lights shine from a chandelier above. A red carpet extends from where you stand to a circular dais in the center of the chamber. There, an unusually tall and lanky man, it's Slender Man, over 7 feet tall, awaits you with his arms clasped behind his back. The man's snub nose and grave expression suggest an imperious and disapproving air. Like the seated officials, his hair is gray, and his face suggests he's in his 50s. He wears a black uniform with gold epaulets and a gold sash indicating his office. So you've been living in medieval times, and these guys are like World War One or World War II Germany.
Jesus. And somehow I
Um,
have to convince them that we are also in that time.
yeah, but sure. You recall reading about the Magisterian government. It is a republic, and you think this must be the Senate. The High Magister was once the judge of the highest court in the land, but you think over time this grew to be a position more like that of a ruler. Soldiers to either side of you escort you up to the center of the chamber, where the High Magister awaits. So, Scribe Fishy, the High Magister says, there's something strange about the way he speaks, though you can't put your finger on it. We've heard so much about you. Care to tell us what you are doing on our side of the negative sea?
I am on a diplomatic mission.
You say. A diplomatic mission, the High Magister says. Perhaps, although that is what a spy would say as well.
Well, so is anything a spy would say.
The High Magister turns to the Senate and says something in Magisterian. Because it's similar to the ancient tongue, you can tell that he's relating your conversation so far to the Senate. You now realize what was strange about the High Magister's speech. The movement of his lips didn't match the words you heard. There must be some divination spell that allows you to understand each other even though you're speaking different languages.
Man, I want that.
We've noticed your astonishing rise to power, the High Magister says to you. It is most unusual. How did you come to have such magic?
Alright, here's the start of the precarious path.
Yeah, remember that thing where it said this is a thin tightrope that leads to your death?
Okay. I don't think this is a good option. I also don't think I should just claim to be the chosen one to see.
You're just Jesus.
It's okay. I am the chosen one. I don't like this.
What are the
magic is a
odds?
problem.
Hey Kai, what are the odds Abraxas was one of the Magisterians? Like that's not me. That's not me saying anything for hints. That's me just putting out some theories and conjecture that I'm thinking about right now.
I don't like any of the answers to
Although,
the problem.
Although wasn't Abraxas on Idra's war against the Magisterians however many years ago?
Wait,
wasn't he on their side?
Maybe.
Because there were a war between the neighbors and Idra 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And Abraxas was leading Idra's side.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So, I don't like this. If I'm trying to make myself seem like we have more power than just
It's
me,
just that good.
I don't know if I want to say either of the things that make it seem like I'm very special and that they can just capture me. And
also remember, you learned that the Magisterians, their magical society is only the upper class gets to practice magic.
It's true. That is actually very true. Maybe I should just go with I'm just talented. Fuck. I'm pretty sure I can get away with anything at this point. It's just like the path that it'll lead me down through like a series of lies.
I think saying that you just found it in an ancient library, they're going to be like, oh, this like street rat just stole it. Yeah.
Fuck, do I really say I'm a chosen one? No, I think I'm gonna go with I'm just talented.
Okay. Blue Draconics heard that 300 was good. It is a very good movie. The High Magister says. I suppose that much might be true, but you must have discovered some texts of the ancients or something similar. You can't have rediscovered so much so quickly without help. So tell me, where did you discover such texts?
I kind of want to give him the correct location because that place fucking melted.
You did also learn that the Magisterians were the ones that sunk these ancient schools and hoping to go loot them later.
Yeah. And truly, they probably already know it, and that place is fucked.
So you probably shouldn't lie to them then, right?
Yeah, I should probably just give them the correct location.
Just refuse to answer, just
mm-mm. Let's see.
I mean, you're right, it is just a steaming heap. You give the High Magister the correct location of the Sunken Academy, hoping its destruction was complete enough that it won't be able to retrieve anything of interest. There you go. I like that you're willing to cooperate, the High Magister says with a tight smile. Perhaps we can peacefully do business after all. The Magisterian Empire has long wished to retrieve the spoils we hid away so long ago. Much was lost back then. Though the High Magister doesn't say so explicitly, you gather that the Old Kingdom knew magical secrets that the Magisterians did not. That's interesting.
That could be on my side. There could be things that we have that they don't.
Who else uses magic in your kingdom? The High Magister asked. We have had conflicting reports. Oh, this is oh boy, this is an interesting one.
Oh, I'm definitely not gonna say, no one uses magic. What? Whole point of this is make it seem like we have a lot of magic. How much of a lie? Because I want to hype
Your
up.
Saints and Hierophants definitely do use magic.
Yes, I'm just trying to see how much I should hype it up. Hype it up as something different, since I just knew.
That supposedly your ancestors knew secrets the Magisterians still don't.
Right, that's why I'm leaning towards this. If
Maybe a slight underhanded intimidation.
Right.
I love how, by the way, I've just gone from letting you completely make your own decisions to I'm all in on this one. I'm like, I'm here. I'm
sure
ready for this.
Did you ever go down this diplomacy
No,
path?
I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this path before.
We're really going. Okay. I'm going to go towards this. It's going to be slight underhanded intimidation.
Oh, really? The condescension in the High Magister's voice is apparent, and when he translates for the Senate, they too smirk. We've heard your stories and miracles of the saints, the High Magister says, and if it's not actual magic, then frankly, it's more likely to be ignorant superstition, and yes, you've actually seen such a miracle yourself.
How good am I at lying?
You gotta pray that you're good at lying.
I mean, I got some good subtlety, and I have some excellent charisma.
Do you think subtlety has anything to do with lying?
I'm pretty sure subtlety is, like, all lying.
Let's find out.
Oh, man, here we go. I'm gonna lie.
You spin a story about a saint healing someone without using vivomancy magic. Lies, the High Magister says, and he relates your story with a derision to the Senate. They look irritated.
Well, that fucked up. Well, here we go.
You say you can't think of anyone who can use magic. Not a single person, the High Magister says. More's the pity for your kingdom.
Here comes the train tracks.
Hey, maybe they'll just like
pity us so much it's not worth conquering.
Yeah. Or is this the thing of like, if you don't walk that thin tightrope, this is the fall?
Yeah.
Oh no, we have more choices. Just one final question for you then. Okay, when I still have a chance. The High Magister says, our spies tell us that your church has, until recently, taught that all magic is a sin. So why do you use it? Do you not believe in your own religion? Oh no. Oh, this is a complicated answer.
I believe the church teaches that what they think they must to keep magic out of evil hands. Fuck.
This is a complicated answer.
Well, I mean, if I really want to just side with them, I could just go like this, but I don't want to.
Yeah, what if you just say, I want to join you guys?
Fuck those guys over there. They suck. Ah!
Alright, this is you.
I think the church is teaching our white lie.
You say.
If everyone could wield magic, there would be chaos.
And you are exempt from this generalization, the High Magister says dryly.
I believe I use magic responsibly.
You say.
I don't need to be blessed by the church to be a righteous person.
A senator yells a demand, probably for a translation. The High Magister does so humorlessly, and the senators respond with displeased whispers. The High Magister asks the Senate something, and it's answered with silence. The Senate has no more questions for you, the High Magister says, though you weren't under the impression that they were the ones asking. Oh. You are free to return to your kingdom. Tell them we will consider your proposal of peace.
And how will you convey your decision?
You ask. The High Magister smiles. If you don't hear from us again, that means peace. And if we conquer you, well, that's a different kind of peace.
I'm gonna be honest. I think this is. I fucked up.
You think it's gone poorly?
I think it's done. I think I'm gonna die.
You return to the throne room in Idra to report on your mission to the Queen.
It didn't seem to go very well.
You admit, as a packed room of nobles and military officials listen in.
They don't like us very much. They don't seem to think we're weak. Or they do seem to think we're weak.
Then we must prepare for their assault, the Queen asks.
I want to be clear. They haven't declared war yet.
We can't wait for that, the Queen says. Oh no. Oh no.
Well,
we need to decide our own stance on negation magic, the Queen says. I don't think a decision to employ negation will be at all popular. Our citizens still think of it as dark, tainted magic, but it may be necessary to keep pace with the Magisterians. and if we're willing to go further than they are in the destructive power we wield, that may prove to be our advantage in the very imbalanced conflict. Isn't that just thermonuclear war in general?
Yeah.
She sighs. I hate delegating this decision, but I need your advice, Fishy. Do the benefits of using negation magic in this war outweigh the drawbacks? There must be certain. They most certainly do not, Blessed Advisor Sam says without exasperation. This magic is considered unholy for a reason. Someone, some unnamed assailant, killed one of St. Twimsby in broad daylight, and we have no idea who did it.
Well, only one way forward.
But the Queen ignores him. It's you.
Alright, no, it's not worth it.
You say.
Negation magic created the negative sea. It created death clouds that sweep through the eastern part of the kingdom, one of which recently scoured Acroton. It's not worth it. Even if we won, we'd cause irreparable harm.
You know, I think that's actually what you would say anyways.
Probably, I don't know. The train tracks, Parker, have been laid down because I failed my talks with Magistrate Army.
The choice of robots one was like branches all the way down. This one was like you had a lot of chances to set up different dominoes, and now it's falling where it may on the last chapter.
To be honest, it is not falling in a good way.
Blessed Advisor Sam breathes a sigh of relief. I believe you, Queen Thecla says, but I suspect we shall then have to be very clever indeed to win this war. Hey, maybe you still have a chance. What if you just do a Star Killer and crash one Star Destroyer into another?
Maybe.
That brings us to our strategy for the war, Queen Thecla says. Again, you understand the magics better than anyone, Fishy. What strategy do you think best suits them? Blessed Advisor Sam was unusually silent, perhaps realizing he's out of his depth. Since you know the location of the Magisterian capital, you could try a direct push for it on one sudden march, but given your kingdom's current strength, that is unlikely to work out well for you. Also, there's a negative C, so I don't know what that would do.
Ooh, boy. Okay, so we are not strong enough to do this, but I was smart enough. I wish that I had a successful military. Honestly, if I had enough Vivamancy, I'd probably be able to do this.
I'm gonna let you know right now, that's what I did.
Yeah, you just blitzed them?
I had an army of Dragon Riders blitz them, and it worked out pretty well.
I'm gonna be honest. This is not... By negotiations from this position of strength. This isn't gonna work. We don't have any strength.
Yeah, I'm still figuring out how do you get over there.
We did manage to capture one ship, but I don't know.
You're gonna slowly ferry over.
So I'm gonna be honest, it's...
God, but when you're the weaker side, doing turtle is so like... I feel like that's just waiting and hoping they didn't decide to attack you.
I'm gonna be honest, we can't win the offensive. That's just how it is.
Don't believe in the surprise factor, turning the tide for you.
We have no military strength over them. There's no blitz. And I'm gonna be honest, if we... It's truly between these two, and even if we did establish a base on their side of the sea, they would take that as an act of war and just be like, alright, time to kill them.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I'm gonna say right in the moment, it's like a 70% chance that they're gonna attack. That's what I would put it as. If you choose the second one, it's 100% chance that it's war.
Kind of just keep going.
Or 99%, and that 1% is like, oh shit, they actually mean business. We'll stop. But I don't think that'll happen.
Nope. I'm gonna be honest. All these roads lead to death, so I'm gonna go with this one.
I feel like this is the equivalent of running in with sticks and knives into like the fucking Resident Evil grid laser thing.
Uh huh. Here we go.
All right. It's you.
We're not in this to conquer.
You say.
We're in this to defend ourselves. Any attackers that make it through the negative sea will find it difficult to retreat or resupply. If we concentrate on holding the line, I think we can win.
Queen Thecla nods. I had been thinking along the same lines. Let it be so, then.
All right.
Oh boy. After your public discussion of strategy, the Queen invites you to her bedroom for a more private conversation. It's not the first time she's invited you here, but she only does this for her most sensitive one-on-one conversations. Any romantic overtones are apparently lost on the Queen. The Queen sits at her desk. She's wearing a white, ankle-length, high-necked, A-line gown that is fancy enough for a wedding, although she is wearing it at court as just another elaborate dress. How many sentences in this game have been dedicated to describing her dresses?
Oh, no.
Then again, it will turn out she has weddings on her mind after all. I've come to realize that with war upon us, the danger of assassination is greater than ever, the Queen says. And unfortunately, my current named heir was just assassinated. All right. You try to work out what the Queen means, and you're surprised when you come to your conclusion.
General Talus was your heir?
Talus died in his sleep shortly before your scouting mission. Most thought the old man had died of natural causes, but apparently the Queen knew better. I know, he is somewhat unremarkable, the Queen says. I picked him long ago. He was the most responsible person I knew. But his poisoning just goes to show that I can't put off my choice.
Oh god, she's gonna ask for me to marry me, and I'm like, I'm married! Oh, thank god, I can just give her someone else.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure, here's the thing, Kai, I'm pretty sure if you weren't already engaged to be married, it probably would give you the choice of, like, hey, you want to do this for, like, for business purposes? So I'd like your advice. Who do you think should become heir? You're momentarily taken aback.
That's a rare privilege, choosing the heir.
I trust your judgment. I shouldn't, but I do.
You really shouldn't at this point.
Think of the possibilities. You yourself come immediately to mind. Then there's Koss, who's always had a knack for government. Then again, Sam has always seemed to have a kind heart, and he might help repair the rift with the church. Tal you'd trust with your life, but maybe not with the kingdom. You're not even sure she'd be interested.
Alright,
Kai, who are you going to name as the next heir to the throne?
Who am I wingmanning?
Or you could name yourself.
I'm already getting married, so I'm not doing that.
Kai, this isn't marriage.
This is the heir. I know. Oh, I mean, yeah. Who's going to be in the charge of the kingdom, but...
Yeah, basically, she's asking who should I name heir in the case I die. You can name yourself. This isn't getting married.
Yeah. Well, I can just name myself king.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do that.
You don't want to be king?
No, I kind of want to do that.
You want to
What's my relationship with her right now? Very good, actually. I don't know if it's great. I don't know if she'll buy it.
Goddamn, Sam still is like in love with you.
Basically. To be honest, don't think it should be Sam.
Yeah. I feel like he'd roll over.
Do it. So it's just between me and Koss.
Yeah.
Why not?
Or you could use divination to determine who would be best.
Oh yeah, let's find out.
It's you.
Let me cast a divination to learn who would be best.
You say to the queen. She nods and makes a hand gesture to someone unseen. You suppose she's indicating to her hidden bodyguards that they should not fill you with arrows when you begin casting.
Mysterion nomai. Revalabit Calateros? Cleronomos.
You receive a vision of Koss sitting in the throne of Arania. Laid out on tables before the throne are several maps with blocks and miniatures on them. You can tell he has tried to visualize the management of the kingdom as a gigantic board game. It looks like D&D. But in another vision, you see him touring a small town, not Ackerton. And he knows not only the mayor's name, but those of the guildmasters and the bankers and the herbalists. He is a ruler who sweats all the little details, and he would be an excellent heir to the throne. Vision ends.
Hey, you know what, Koss? Let's go with Koss. Cool.
And somewhere Koss just learned, like, what your favorite color is.
So, yep. Let's go with Koss.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that Mayor Koss is amazing at what he does?
Starting the sales pitch, you say?
Yep. Here's my board meeting pitch. I have a PowerPoint made just for this specific situation. You should strongly consider him. He could micromanage the kingdom better than anyone.
He has always seemed quite talented, the queen agrees. I think you're right. Mayor Koss shall be my heir. Thank you for the advice. Increased cost. Yeah, you just call Koss. Hey, I suggested that you should be the next king. And he just
like,
chokes to death. Yeah, how do you deliver that news of like, hey, I didn't ask you beforehand, but you're the heir to the throne now?
I'm going to point out, because this is the second time that's happened, never put me in charge of a war. Because this is the second time that the game has been like, okay, so what do you do to prepare for this war? And I fuck it up.
Okay. I would like to remind everyone that my second 5A campaign involves Kai being a part of a group that runs a country.
Uh-huh.
This will be interesting.
Uh-huh.
You hope Koss appreciates the good turn you've done for him. You hope, for that matter, that he'll be willing to leave behind Ackerton when the time comes. Yeah, what if he just says nah? Maybe he'll just end up moving the capital to Ackerton. You wouldn't put it past him. Imagine like, imagine there's a new king, right?
Yeah.
And he says, "All right, I'm moving the capital." And they're like, "Oh, to one of these other major cities?" No, to this like population of 27 small towns.
Exactly. Perfect place.
Imagine if they moved the capital of Canada to just like the middle of the ice somewhere, where there's like two dudes in a fishing hole.
Oh. So
Yeah.
I'm just reading what's happening here.
Oh, before the first battles of the war begin, another way of helping with the war effort occurs to you. With your alchemy set, you could create a decoction that, if combined with the blood of dead allies, greatly increases the strength and stamina of the surviving forces. You know that it will feel strange to your soldiers to cannibalize the power of the fallen in this way, but it helps save lives. It may be worth it.
The decoction bless souls know that's mere herbalism, not magic. Personally, extol the virtues of this decoction to every lieutenant in the force. I probably have the charisma to get away with it.
You probably do.
I'm gonna be honest. In this situation, the dead are already dead.
Yeah. You would be correct. Let's see if the lieutenants agree with you. You think trying to promote a mysterious herb is unlikely to work unless you personally do the promoting. You arranged for meetings with every lieutenant in the army, trying to convince them of the benefit of this alchemical trick. Unfortunately, your explanations aren't as clear as they could be, and you say some things that make you come across as an idealist with no head for practical considerations. The lieutenants leave these meetings with even more misgivings than they had come in, but both your alchemical remedy and your plans for the war generally.
It's just I have things. I'm like, use this, and they're like, no.
Wait, what? Why did that fuck up though? Is it just your vilification?
I guess so. Unless now I have fantastic charisma.
Yeah, your vilification. You have no adoration, so they were probably like,
I guess
no,
I should have gone with the herbalism. This war is done. So much. Hasn't even started yet.
Hey, Kai, you're still not as emotionally racked as Choice of Robots.
That's because I fucked up several times along the way of this. Started on a high, I peaked early, Parker. I peaked very early.
You peaked in the first dungeon.
And then the second I got to the church, it's just
Everything
been a
fell apart.
downward spiral.
I mean, I think it's been a downward spiral ever since you couldn't get the fans to work. The kingdom gathers what conventional forces it can in the border towns along the Negative Sea, preparing for the invasions. More forces gather in Acroton, since the Magisterian airships attacked there first. But it is not enough. When the Magisterian airships come roaring out of the Negative Sea to invade Acroton, they obliterate your conventional forces with blasts of negative energy. A mass exodus of refugees led by Mayor Kost flees west, along with an escort of your remaining shattered forces. The Magisterians then quickly expand to the north and south, establishing forward bases all along the border towns close to the Negative Sea.
Alright.
Hearing the casualty reports come in, you can't help but wonder, would fewer people have died if only you had dragons or airships or giant negative energy cannons?
I wonder.
It's a question that haunts you. You can only hope your optimism will be rewarded. You tell yourself to have faith. You tell yourself to stay determined.
I would not be determined in this situation. I'm going to let you know now.
So what was before? There was muddy water, black water, and clear water, right? I don't think we're on clear water anymore.
I think we're falling a little close to oblivion. That's my general take.
Is it the Oblivion one, or is it the long but depressing future?
No. We're definitely falling into oblivion. It's happening rapidly. It's a sheer cliff.
Yeah, you did go for peace, and it said there's like one way for... It was basically the Doctor Strange shaky finger. There's one way for peace to work, and a 13 million ways it won't. Shortly after your discussion with the Queen, you're up late in your room in the palace, deciding between the patches of tablecloth fabric for your upcoming wedding. When you get a knock on the door, your Anzu Bill hides under the bed and mews fearfully. And you're still doing a wedding in the middle of all this, huh?
Oh wow.
I guess it's now or never, huh?
Die married.
From her perch on the window, your baby dragon Stormageddon sniffs at the air. She squawks in anger or fear. You're not sure which. Apparently she doesn't like whatever she smells. Respondes porta? Your golem inquires in a low voice from beside the door, reaching for it.
Sure.
You say. Jeff opens the door, and you see that It's one of Thekla's royal guard, wearing plate mail and bearing a halberd. The guard tries to lower his halberd into the room, but Jeff blocks the weapon. The guard's large handlebar mustache makes it difficult to read his expression, but you think its grim resolve is about right.
Is the queen upset with me?
You say, trying to understand the situation. Her Majesty will no longer be needing your services, the guard says. Stormbright growls angrily, as if to say, I'm so sure. Vos Imperius Dominix, Jeff intones. You have to punch the guard in the face.
Man, Jeff's gonna come back in favor. I mean, I could hide.
You just
and cast
kill the
divination.
guard. Oh my god.
Hey, let's find out for sure. I have a lot of divination.
You quickly vault over your bed to hide behind it and begin to cast divination to better understand what is happening.
Spirion nomai apocalypto kinitro.
I don't have faith that the word apocalypto was there. A vision flashes in your mind of a shapeshifter morphing into the guard. Next to the fake guard, another shapeshifter morphs into you. That gives you an idea.
Wait, it's me!
You shout.
I tried to find Scribe Fishy, but I couldn't.
After a moment, you hear the fake guard tentatively say, Brother?
Yes, it's me!
You say.
I don't know where Fishy is.
You were supposed to kill the queen, the shapeshifter says angrily.
I'll get right on that!
You lie and you rush past the guard imposter out your door. You hear Jeff's crashing footsteps follow close behind you. So what stat do you think let you pull that off? Charisma?
Maybe.
You manage to reach the queen's bedchambers as your double and the queen are facing off from opposite sides of the bed. The queen is wearing a white shift fancier than most Acratonians' church dresses. Guards! She cries hoarsely as she has been calling for a while. Negative energy curls up your double's body in preparation for a deadly bolt. The queen sees you and her expression turns hopeful. Fishy, are you the real one? You leap between your double and the queen just as he shouts, Nihilo! You raise your shield and channel negative energy through it, just in time for the bolt to connect. Shield and bolt alike disintegrate and the queen is safe. Before your double can summon another bolt, you stab him with your sword and he slumps to the ground,
The
dead.
shield paid off! I would have died right there!
You saved the queen.
Save the queen with the shield!
Have Jeff punch him in the... I was really hoping you would have Jeff just punch him.
I was thinking about that, but at least I actually saved the queen this way.
Mm-hmm. Hey, if you would to be fair, if you had just taken out the double that was going after you, you wouldn't have known to go save the queen. Can you prove that you're the real Scribe Fishy? The queen asks. Where to begin, you think?
Do I point out that I met Bear Bearson? Or do I describe one of our secret meetings from before the war? I feel like Bear Bearson might be a good one.
Mm-hmm. I don't think spies would have a reason to know about Bear Bearson.
I've met Bear Bearson.
You say.
Had I known something like this would happen, I would have tried to animate him permanently. That was one very formidable bear, if I recall.
The queen breathes a sigh of relief. That's you, all right. The surviving shapeshifter assassins are arrested and taken to the palace dungeons, which is like next door to you. There, the queen's interrogators extract the names of several other Magisterian shapeshifters who have infiltrated your military. You're glad to have captured the assassins alive.
Nice.
This is probably not going to go well in terms of the whole shapeshifter rights thing that Tal was hoping for. A few days later, just after the queen adjourns a war strategy meeting in the throne room, you beckon her over to have private words with her. Yes, my hero? She asks with only a light dash of sarcasm.
I've been wondering, since the attack, if you were unhappy with me, would you let me know, right? Rather than send a guard to my room to execute me?
The queen smiles. This isn't a petty dictatorship, she says. You would be captured, yes, but then you would be put on trial and publicly executed only if you were found guilty.
Ah.
You say.
But we're good, right?
I like you, the queen confirms. For better or worse, I like you. May Abraxas have mercy on all our souls. Midsummer, as the Magisterians press farther and farther into your kingdom, there is a brief interlude of sweetness as you finally marry Tal. You and Tal get married in a small church in the capital, but Tal is disappointed that the war prevents you from getting married in Akraton. At Tal's suggestion, Noodles is animated to be the flower monkey. The stuffed monkey hops from guest to guest, strewing petals all over them. Nobody seems to mind terribly much. At Tal's suggestion, Koss officiates. You can tell he's very happy for the both of you. Your father attends the whole service with his arm crossed, but you expect he's simply uncomfortable in his fancy clothes as usual. As for your mother, you begin to tune out her complaints about everything from the flower arrangements to the organist's choice of music, but you can tell that they're both very happy for you. They both seem miserable. They're both very happy for you. Tal's mother can't seem to stop crying. You're not sure who the handsome man she's with is, but he pats her hand in sympathy. He seems nice. When Tal walks down the aisle, she surprises you by wearing a simple tunic and breeches, not a wedding dress, but you're glad she wore something that makes her comfortable. Your mother is slightly scandalized, but you imagine she'll live. When the time comes for the rings, Queen Thekla offers her stuffed bear, Bear Bearson, as the ring bearer.
Aha!
Bear. Or as Tal and the Queen say, ring bear. Queen Thekla herself sends her regrets, but she wanted the day to be about you instead of her. She knew the other Akratonians would moon over her. It is over all too soon. You may kiss the bride. You do, and it is hard to believe it is. You and Tal are now married. You scared? Tal says, holding your hands as the audience claps.
I've never regretted an adventure with you.
You say. Tal grins. Same.
Oh wow, I got kingdom power for that.
The next, or probably for what we're about to read, the next year sees a string of failures from the Queen's... Nope, it's from the wedding.
Yep.
The next year sees a string of failures from the Queen's forces as the Magisterians push ever closer to the capital. Apparently, they did waste some time looking for the destroyed ruins of your magical academy. Oh, that's probably what it was.
Oh, because
not
made
for long
them waste
enough.
their time.
But not for long enough to help you. Okay, maybe not. The Magisterian airships mow down your standard troops with their negative energy cannons, leveraging their magical superiority as much as possible. You remain wrecked by guilt as the casualties mount on your side of the war. Could you have saved them with more magic? Every time you see her, Queen Thekla looks more and more tired. Despite that, she asks you for reading material so that she can learn magic herself. If they come to our doorstep, I want to be ready, she tells you. You give her your Tome of Negation, and she carries it with her wherever she goes. Quite the choice of magic to give her.
Well,
I guess basically said, here's a gun.
here's a gun. Have fun.
But the Queen is a busy woman, and her red ribbon bookmark doesn't move very far in the thick tome. You hear that she has made some progress destroying scarecrow targets in the fields outside the city, but that is all. In the end, if it comes to that, one novice mage could not hold back the tide. You think that if the neighbors come to the capital, it will all be up to you to stop them.
Alright, here's where I die.
Your last stand, Kai.
My last stand. It's almost over, Parker.
It's almost over. As the war progresses, you begin to hear rumors that amateurs are beginning to practice magic across the kingdom, but you have no idea how bad it is until Mayor Koss comes to court to report on what is happening in the Akratonian refugee camps. It's gotten rather out of hand, Goss reports to the Queen. People I never would have expected to be capable of are now using magic, and not to particularly good ends. It seems people are always on each other's business now that they've discovered divination magic. I think they must have learned it by watching the rituals used for broadcasting musicians across the kingdom. Now everybody knows too much about each other, and that's quite a recipe for trouble. People just aren't used to seeing each other's dirty laundry like that, you know? In short, the refugee camps could use your help, Koss concludes. I can hardly blame my people for trying to learn magic. I've tried to learn it myself, though I've discovered I have no aptitude for it. But we need some kind of plan that will get them to use it more responsibly. I knew this day would come, Blessed Advisor Sam says sadly. He looks to you. I suppose I should have pressed you a bit more to hold back, my friend. The Queen sighs. It would seem I am once again beholden to your judgment, Scribe Fishy. Do you have any sage advice? How do you get a fledgling wizard to desist?
Do I support the church, establish magic schools around the kingdom, teach people to use responsibly, make it illegal to practice magic without the Queen's... maybe, yeah, schools seem like a good idea, to be honest. Teach them. If only I had students to run those schools.
I was about to say, who's going to teach in the schools?
Yeah, you know,
I mean, it's possible you could. I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest. Only for the holy, make it illegal. Making it illegal is not going to help. That's gonna make it worse. Especially during a time of war, they're not gonna give a shit. Interference will only make things worse. People should figure. Basically, do I just not do anything, or do I hope that somehow we can teach them? As in, can I teach them?
The other ones don't seem like great options.
No, I'm gonna. All right.
As you
can't undo the spread of magic.
You tell Mayor Koss and Queen Tekla.
But what we can do is try to educate them to prevent them from killing themselves.
More magic? Plus Advisor Sam says, distressed. If you think that's best, Mayor Koss says uncertainly. I admit it may have seemed uncharitable of the Crown not to share its magic a bit more, Queen Tekla says. Perhaps our citizens will come up with some novel innovations that make life better for everyone. Like maybe something that stops us all from dying. You travel from town to town, trying to teach the brightest citizens of each region how to teach magic themselves. You usually find at least one person in each region who is genuinely enthusiastic and motivated about magic, and you focus on teaching that person so that they can in turn teach others. But when you sit in on your new teacher's first classes, you find most people see magic as an imposition on their normal way of life, just one way in which they must catch up with their neighbors or fall behind. Studying magic for these students is a chore. You can also tell some of these students are wondering what the point of learning about the magic esoterica is when there's a war going on, especially when that magic isn't useful for fighting. And to some extent, they're right. This educational push will take time and resources away from the war. You expect to hear complaints from Hierophant Elizabeth about your decision, but instead there's a silence that speaks volumes.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for myself to fucking kick the bucket.
As the people learn about magic, they do become more careful with it. Many didn't realize that divination reveals information to those spied upon. People certainly become more reluctant to use the magic after that. At least the people appreciate these warnings. Since the government has also set a good example with its restrained use of magic, the people begin to do the same. You think the kingdom might survive and prosper after all. Oh yeah, there's a war.
Oh yeah, we're about to die.
As the Magisterian forces tear through the kingdom, Queen Tekla begins to become increasingly angry at you. What am I paying you for? If not to protect the kingdom, she scolds you in front of all the courtiers of the throne room. With the Magisterian forces set to arrive at the capital in less than a week, you turn towards the Magia Magaya, and the advanced tome of magic you rescued from the academy. You find that you can now understand more of the book than you ever could before, and that it offers extremely powerful and extremely dangerous magic. You can find a few solutions in the book that you may be able to pull off from the Magisterian forces arrive. You find a plan for disabling airships from a distance with lightning, but the writer seems to assume you understand airships well. You don't. With further study of negation, you could create immensely powerful anti-aircraft cannons that channel the Dark Sun's energy in continuous beams. With further study of glamour and divination, you could emit a glamour so powerful and far-reaching that you could command the opposing army to leave. Of course, each of these brings with it its drawbacks of the magic, storms, fallout, rot. You could also just try hoping for the best. You suspect Queen Tekla wouldn't be too happy about that.
Darn shame the automation one is locked off, because apparently I'm too fucking stupid.
You never learned about airships, I guess.
And I don't have any negation, so this is just bound to fail. So, I mean, the only thing is to just...
Hey, the far-reaching glamour involved divination. You are very good at divination.
Oh, it's gonna be some intense rot, though.
You might get instant cancer.
Might as well try.
I'm gonna die other way, so might as well save some people, right? Day and night, you study the magics of divination and glamour in the hopes of finding a spell that will drive away the Magisterians once and for all. The Magia Magaya is an unforgiving tutor, but locked away in its terse exposition are truths and connections you had never imagined before. There must be a peaceful solution to this, you think. There has to be. Also, you think you literally had no choices left.
I didn't.
Soon enough, you see the Magisterian airships on the horizon, approaching the capital. You and Queen Tekla watch their approach from atop one of the palace towers. This had better work, Queen Tekla says. I've ordered all our forces to stand down.
It will.
You sound confident. You assure her hiding your own uncertainty. You don't hide it very well.
No, and they must stand down. Glamours don't work well if the target is threatened.
With your eyes closed in concentration, you begin to summon all the glamour magic from within you that you can. You place a hand on your forehead to draw out the power of divination as well. The sweet, cloying smell of the glamour magic is muted by the fact that your spirit is now no longer entirely in your body, but rather spread across the sky to trap the Magisterians in its web. You just made yourself seem like God peeking through the clouds.
Sure did.
They're almost here, Thecla shouts. Quick!
Mysterion nomai, Philautia omnis, verata apocalypto cleos venenum.
Alrighty. I'll wait for it to clear up. You open your eyes and see that you have begun to shine with an intense golden aura. Thecla shields her eyes from your intense light.
Leave and never return.
You boom, and you hear a slight echo of your voice in the Magisterian's language.
Egreti et nepodosi.
The Magisterian ships hesitate, then turn around and head back the way they came! How did you do that?
I mean, let's wait for what happens.
You did it! Thecla beams at you. That was amazing! You hear a cheer go up from the capital streets below. There's literally one city left in this entire country. You are a city-state now.
Uh-huh.
You hear you feeling of a rock kicks in immediately. Hard.
Help.
You say faintly, and the roar in your ears becomes overwhelming as everything goes black.
I somehow managed to get them to fuck off, and whether or not that will last for a while, who knows?
They're just gonna get home and be like, why did we leave?
Wait, why did we leave? And just head back and just kill us all.